Most realtors think they need better marketing, but the truth is they just need a better structure. Because creativity without strategy is just noise. Today, we're going to get into a structure that's going to elevate your marketing game. Welcome to the Listing Blueprint Podcast, the show for real estate agents who want to become top-tier listing agents and build a business driven by systems and not stress. I'm your host, Jeremy Reed, managing broker, 16-year realtor, and creator of the Listing Blueprint Fastest Path to Sold. Every episode, I break down one practical strategy or framework you can use to win more listing appointments, price with confidence, market with intention, and sell homes faster in any market. If you're ready to elevate your listing game and run your business like a pro, you're in the right place. Let's get started. So when we talk about marketing, there's two sides of the coin. There's marketing yourself to customers, and there's marketing your listings to buyers. Now, today we're going to talk about marketing listings to buyers in a really effective way, but the principles go hand in hand. So use this same structure when you're creating any new offers in your business, when you're getting your name out in front of the public. Really understanding who your ideal demographic is going to help you on both sides of the coin. Now, on the listing side, this is a vital part of the process. In fact, in the Listing Blueprint, I have an entire module just on identifying your ideal buyer. But it's important, and it's important that we talk to the sellers about this because two different buyers can go in the same home and see two different values. That's what's so interesting about real estate is that there's no set price for any home. An appraiser can go in and give a price, a realtor can go in and give a price, and both of them can be wrong because when they go to the market, a buyer comes and buys the property because they saw some hidden value or the seller was really in a distressed state and they sold for a lot lower than what both those numbers were. So it's all over the place. And so the best definition we have of market value, and I have this conversation with each one of my clients, is what a buyer's willing to buy for and a seller's willing to sell for. And when those 2 points meet at any time in the market, that becomes market value. That's it. So if we're going to market to the public, we want to look for who's the ideal buyer. We'll never deter the other buyers, but if we talk to the ideal and we position everything towards the ideal, then we have a target and the seller understands what the mission is, what we're trying to get across to the public so that we find that 1 out of 10 buyer that maybe is going to see the highest value. Now, when it comes to understanding buyer demographics, typically it starts with who the seller was when they purchased the home. That's a great place to start, is figuring out, okay, who were you when you bought it? What scenario were you in? Why were you buying? There's a lot of clues that can come from the seller and where they were when they purchased the home. For example, if they tell you that we just couldn't afford a normal single family home, but this one was really cheap because it was right next to the train tracks, but it allowed us to get into a single family home instead of a townhouse. Well, that's great. That's excellent that we understand that. And the buyer is probably going to feel the same, but guess what? We can't start asking a premium when clearly, even when you bought it for a discount because it was right by the train tracks. If there was something specific about school catchments, something specific about the location that hasn't changed, something specific about their scenario that made it perfect for them. These are great clues to who you can paint a picture to, because now it's like, okay, that's who you were. That's what drew you to the house. Why wouldn't we just make the listing pointed directly at the same kind of scenario? Because you can speak to the benefits of that. And I'm sure since you've lived in this home, you've probably found other benefits that come with living in this home. So I like to work with the seller one-on-one and find that ideal buyer before we even get into the marketing. And it's really nice because as soon as you start to collaborate with everything I talk about, we should be collaborating. But as soon as you start to collaborate, now the creativity comes out and they can start to feed you some pieces of information that maybe you didn't know that are going to work really well for targeting the demographic and getting your marketing in front of them. So that's step number 1. Who is your ideal buyer? Step number 2 is understanding where they are. It sounds simple, but again, if you're going to be creative, at least know that you're being creative in the right places and targeting towards the right type of buyers. So if you have, say, well, actually, before we get into that, let's talk about the 3 types of buyers, because this is going to help you a lot. It helped me a lot. There's 3 types of buyers that are looking for any home in any single market. There's the active buyers. The active buyers are the ones that are constantly on MLS. They're looking 2-3 times a day. They're searching for a home. They know they have a need. They're looking for that next listing to come up, and they're watching the market. They're realtors watching the market. They are actively engaged to find something. Okay, they're on MLS. They're on realtor.ca. They're in all the areas that you would expect buyers to be. So make sure that you're positioned well there and everything's targeted there, speaking to them. The second type of buyer is passive buyers. And passive buyers, they would buy, especially if a home has some kind of unique features, but maybe they're not actively looking. But they watch the market a little bit. They're on social media channels. They're watching Facebook. They're watching TikTok maybe. But they're out there knowing that they would buy if something came up, but they're not actively pursuing it. So you start to think about, well, where do those people hang out? And here's the other big tip. If you have a very unique home, typically the amount of passive buyers you have will actually go up. Because if it's very specific to an area and it's very specific to a feature, and there's buyers that would buy that but maybe weren't looking, the more unique that is, the better chance you can actually kick a buyer off the fence of, well, we weren't thinking about moving for 2 or 3 years, but that thing is so perfect that I got to move. So more unique, more passive buyers. Less unique, more active buyers. That's kind of how those two work. The third one is relocation buyers. Relocation buyers shop a completely different way. If you think that you're going to be targeting someone that's moving out of town, they're on YouTube. They're learning about the area. They're watching neighborhood videos. They're reading blogs. They're researching the area. So if they're a relocation buyer, then we want to make sure we're in places that relocation buyers can find us. So those are the 3 types of buyers. And of those 3, we want to make sure that each one has some kind of strategy so we're in front of everyone. Does that make sense? Number 3, when it comes to putting it out there. Once you've got the ideal buyer and you know who you're going to be speaking to, you know which type of the 3 buyers you want to get to, now you got to look at, where are they? And where are they is a really important question, because there's no rules to this. This is where your creativity can come out. So let's say that you're going for first-time home buyers. Where do first-time home buyers hang out? Well, a lot of them are reading blogs on how to get financing. They're probably working with mortgage brokers. They're talking to different mortgage brokers. Depending on their interests in the area, there might be some Facebook groups or things like that that you can target. You just need to start to think about, where are they? I've had clients that have used Spotify as a really good use of advertising to find buyers. Now that's out there, but if you have something specific and you got something to say, Spotify is a way to target buyers, because a lot of first-time home buyers are younger buyers and they listen to, say, Spotify, but they usually don't pay for the premium version, so they have the ads. Now, on the other side of that, let's say that you've got some house with a really nice shop that's really going to be specific to a car guy or a car girl. Well, where are they at? Again, Facebook groups that they might hang out in. There could be car clubs that you could reach out to the president of and ask, do you have anybody in your car club? Would you share this listing through email? Is the newspaper an effective use of marketing? And you'd have these debates of, yes, it is, no, it's not. Who's reading the newspaper? And is what you're putting in the newspaper interesting to that type of buyer, that type of seller, that type of clientele in general? So if you know you have an older demographic, I'm actually thinking about going on TV commercials. And just saying that sounds like I'm an old man, but I've got a product, I've got a development that's perfect for downsizers. And they still watch the news. They still watch the 6 o'clock primetime news. So if I were to take out some ads on TV in those slots, it's going to be in front of the right demographic. So there is no such thing, in my opinion, as a dead marketing channel. Any marketing channel that still has the attention can be useful. We just have to know who's paying attention to those areas, and is our product fit right for the people that are going to watch there. Let's take it a step further and talk about our own offers. Okay, let's actually go into that side a little bit. Because if I'm going to look at offers for a demographic of buyer or a demographic of seller, one of the best things you can do, in my opinion, is look at what are the pain points of someone in the market. So let's say that someone is in the market looking to downsize. There's a great example, a downsizer. Well, what are downsizers dealing with right now? They've probably been in their home for 35 years. They probably accumulated a lot of stuff. They probably haven't done the process in 20 years. The idea of moving completely scares the heck out of them. They don't know where they would go. They don't know what they would downsize to. They got a lot of problems. There's a lot of pain points in that. But if we look at each one individually, and we say to ourselves, how could we make it just a little less painful? What process could we put in place? What checklist could we put in place? How could we guide someone so that they can get over this hurdle a little bit easier? And now you take all these pieces and you say, okay, now I've got a program that can help downsizers, because I've got processes that just make it a little bit easier. I can remove the pain from where they are to where they want to go by these little processes that'll break it down for them. You take that entire thing and you create an offer. We put a name on that, and now you take that offer to market. And when you market it, it's not about just blasting it everywhere. Where are the people that are downsizing? Which neighborhoods do they live in? This might be a mail-out offer. What neighborhoods do they live in? What clubs are they a part of? What things can you do to get in front of those types of buyers and sellers? And here's the real part, and I want you to listen to this because this is important. If I have an offer and it is going to make someone's life a little bit easier, and I can identify where that person is, I now take my offer, I put it in front of those people, and I have conversations with them about it to make it better. Because I've never had an offer that just right out of day one was perfect. I had an offer that I thought would be perfect. And then you take it to, say, a downsizer and you say, hey, this is the process. How long have you guys lived in your house? 32 years. Perfect. So you guys would be perfect for this. So this is how I broke down this whole structure. These are the pain points that I've kind of identified. Is any of this is this something that you guys have thought about when it comes time to downsize? Are you concerned about how much work it's going to be? Are you concerned about how much where you're going to go? And I go through the questions with them. And then I say, does this process solve a lot of your issues? Is it something that's of value? And if you didn't know me, rose-colored glasses off, is this something that would actually attract you to work with me? And a lot of times they'll be like, no, I don't want someone to come through and look through all my stuff and tell me what I have to get rid of or not. Yes, this helps a lot. No, I don't like this. Yes, I do like this. And they'll actually help you refine your offer. And then the more you do that, not only are you marketing your offer to the ideal demographic, because now you're having the conversation with them, they're helping you create your offer, but they're also getting really interested in it. And then naturally they're going to ask you if you can help them. But also you can take that offer and now you can repackage it and you can put it out to other people. The people that use that offer can give testimonials. So then those testimonials help other people. And this is a big golden moment that I'm giving you right now, like a aha moment. Let's call it that. Once you understand that if you market to everybody, you market to nobody. But if you package yourself into 2 or 3 demographics of people, figure out their pain points, and then you create processes that makes it easier for them. You wrap that whole thing into an offer, you name it, and then you take it and you put it in front of those people and say, is this good? They're going to refine it, and then you're going to grow again. They're going to refine it some more. You're going to get testimonials. They're going to give you some insights. You're going to be talking to the perfect people. So you're going to be lead generating. You're going to be doing more business. And eventually you're going to own that market. And it might be a small niche of people, but you're going to own that market. You do that 2 or 3 times, then you can broaden out. And if you're going into new markets, it's going to help you a lot to start out, because when you have an offer that's so good and the processes make it so much easier for someone to overcome, you're not competing anymore. I'll give you one last example of this before I shut this one down. But my best offer that I've done so far was my contractor enhancement program. And it was right when the market was starting to go up. A lot of people had equity in their home, but not a lot of people had cash on hand to actually do renovations. But we all know that there's ways that you can make money in real estate when you go to sell just by investing money into your home. Kitchens, bathrooms, roofs need to be replaced. There's things that you can do that's going to make a better resale for you. So if you're a seller and you don't have the money to invest in hiring someone to do the work, but you have equity in your house, I have contractors that will come in, they'll do the work at a fair price, they'll mark it up by 10%, and they'll wait to get paid until your house sells. And as long as we go to market and we are effectively trying to sell, you won't pay until you actually get the sale. So what this means is that you will get the benefit of selling with that feature. You're going to get extra money in your pocket. The contractor gets easy work that they can quote at a fair price plus 10% on their time. And we make it flexible for them so that they can come in. Access is key because a lot of them have trades. They want to send their trades over in between these periods. They don't want to have to like shut down a job and come do this. But if they've got 2 or 3 days here, this is when they do it. So as long as we can provide flexibility to these contractors, then you get the benefit of all this at a fair price. I'm even going to guide it, and you get a better resale at the end. That was the best offer of everything I've done. I've got more calls off that. And here's how some of these calls went. One of these calls went, this really sweet lady had been living in her house for about 6 years. And in my area, you need a BC electrical certification number before you can sell a mobile home. And she'd been wanting to move for about 6 years, could not because she couldn't afford to get the BC electrical number because those things are expensive, like $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. So I called my electrician. He was awesome. He came in, did it for half what the last person quoted, and didn't get paid until it sold. We put it on the market, sold in 4 days. She's awesome. Like her and I are so good, like amazingly good. Like it's good relationship, number one. But What I'm saying is that when she called me, it wasn't, hey, I'm interviewing 3 agents. Could you come give me your marketing plan? It's, hey, I heard you have this program. I heard it on the radio. I'm really excited about it. Would you take me on? That's how different an offer can be. Would you take me on? Yeah, absolutely, I could. We work together. I get tons of referrals. She passes people on to me all the time. But it all started with that offer and me finding a very specific pain point, giving an offer around it, and it just resonating with her. And she's just one of like dozens of success stories like that where people just call and say, would you take me on? Because my offer's so good. So that's something I'm going to leave you guys with. If you're on YouTube, comment, email me. I want to hear about your guys' offers. I want to hear about the things you're doing. I want to hear that you leveled up your marketing and you started selling some of these listings that weren't selling because your creativity started going out and you started thinking about who's the ideal buyer and who can I put it in front. And you did some kind of creative marketing that got out there, not just doing TikTok dances and stuff, but really targeting, really becoming a marketing professional. And if you want a structure to all this, the listing blueprint is my program. It's my 6-week selling system. It includes all the things that we're talking about here, and it's going to give you a structure to take a listing from listed to sold and also unlock some of that creativity. Because like we just talked about, when you have structure, it's going to help you unlock a lot of your own potential because you have that nice base. So thanks for listening, and we'll have another episode next week. So make sure you follow if you want more tips like this. Bye, guys.